Nation, welcome back to Strictly Blizzness, episode 45.
Do you want me to say it in
You
Spanish?
can do it.
Cuatro y cinco. Cuatro y cinco? No.
Big Bart's like, nope.
What?
You're 0 for 2.
Cuarenta y cinco. Cuarenta y cinco. I was doing
Swiper, no swiping.
I was doing the cuatro. I was getting hooked up
Dora
on
would be very disappointed.
Well, I got it in the end.
Both animated Dora and City of Gold Dora would be mad.
I like City of Gold, Dora. I
Yep.
did. I liked
I had
that.
way too much of that in my life with my kids growing up. So
Dora was a mainstay in
Yep.
our house. Swiper, no swiping.
Nick Jr. was constantly on.
Where's the map?
Yep.
That's awesome.
What's new?
What's new in the zoo, as we call it these days,
Yep.
right?
What's new at the zoo?
It's been
We
kind
got-
of a crazy.
IFL stuff right off the bat? Any IFL stuff?
I do have some IFL stuff.
Yes.
We finally saw a post from the Frisco, so the Germains in association with the Frisco Fighters.
Oh, yeah, I know where this is going.
Yeah, changing over to the Dallas Stars, that they're going to manage the team.
Yep.
And there was so much fodder on the forum about it that, you better watch it. They're going to do that and team up with them. We have Vegas, who has an NHL team also. So this whole football plus hockey, if people go back, that's how it started.
Yep.
And the reason for it was you were done with the NFL, hockey season was in play, they overlapped, so the arenas were good with it. A lot of our teams play over ice like the Blizzard do, not because we like cold, but because that's just how it is. The gamblers are playing, and so we get the field down over the ice. But there's all that speculation that comes out as to, are they going to sell it? What are they going to do? Let's just take a step back. We as owners, when we own a team, there are those owners that own and operate, and there are those that own and then hire an operations staff. I see nothing wrong with, if you have businesses outside of the IFL, of course you're going to have somebody manage it.
Sure. Yep.
It doesn't mean you're giving up on it. It doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. The Germains have a very successful car dealership. I mean, it's a very expansive dealership network. When they came to the league, Columbus was always going to be their team. We as a league convinced them to do a second team.
Got it.
So it's not that, and don't lead into anything there, because that's not what this is. It's just that, yes, they have somebody operating it. So then there was speculation, then they're going to do the same thing in Columbus. Again, if they do, okay, that doesn't mean they're not going to continue to be owners.
Right.
So, everybody still is talking about whether or not they're going to be in because they haven't renewed their actual trademark. And sorry, guys, but that's not true. There's things that happen with trademarks that you don't necessarily see when you run that trademark to see who owns it, or is it updated or not updated. So I love listening and watching the speculation that goes on out there. Being an owner of a football team, I know the ins and outs of having your own business and having this.
Yep.
It's a lot of work. And if you don't have the personnel to be able to run it, thankfully I have you. So
For now.
So apparently,
Spoiler alert! No.
So apparently, the
Just
Blizzard
kidding.
is going to be
I love
looking for some sort of
my
company.
gig and my life and my wing woman. I'm good. I am good. I'm good. I'm better. We have a great staff this year. Selena and Ryan Apparella are doing outstanding. So I'm having some of the most fun I've had. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Can I queue up questions that might pop up?
Yeah,
Because
you
I have
bet.
questions now.
You bet.
So does Frisco play in Dallas' building?
Yeah.
Okay. And were the two connected at all? Did the Vegas NHL crew go, hey, Dallas NHL?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's what I thought. It was more driven by that
The
they played in the
Germains-
building already, right?
Okay. Germains took that route of convenience, and I get it. They don't live in Texas.
Right.
So, you want to keep stuff close to home. You keep stuff close to home. So, To me, it just makes sense. Now, someone did state something like, ooh, I hope the IFL knows what they're doing because this is a slippery slope. If every team goes after who's ever got an NHL team, and that's the model that we use moving forward, it'll put the smaller, us in
Sure.
a smaller venue or a smaller demographic, smaller city out of business. And I would say maybe that it would, but the whole idea behind the IFL is having playing partners that are close. Now,
Why do you
granted-
say maybe it would? And that is not even a loaded question. Just
because
we're really good at what I do, and that's not an eagle at what
Yeah.
we do. We're really good at what I do. We are good at what I do.
So where that comes from is whenever you're going to land, and we had this issue when we were talking to Stadium, they were looking at the top markets around the USA
Sure.
for marketing purposes.
Yep, that makes sense.
So we're in a small market in Green Bay. We're
Yep.
not a large market. We're not at the bottom of the barrel, but we are a smaller market than a Phoenix, than a San Diego.
Right.
So those big name cities also have big names from a marketing
Yeah,
perspective.
you now got majors, and then you got good old Midwest and Iowa Quad Cities Blizzard. And,
Right.
Yeah, yep.
Right. So that's their fear is that
Got
if we
it.
get in all of these majors, what happens to the little guys? Well, you need the little guys, much like in your body, you have large muscle groups.
Yep.
They don't work without the little guys
Sure.
that support them.
Right.
So, there, I went anatomy on
Yeah.
this. So at any rate, the IFL we're very aware of what all of these big
Right.
cities could mean to us in a good way.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be detrimental to the little guys. It doesn't have to be. Are we always looking for cities that have NHL teams? No, that's not the idea. But if it works, fantastic.
I still think it's overall cool too, because it gives validity to what we've done for 8-9 years, 8 years, me involved, like that there's pro sports teams looking to get involved in this league is still pretty cool. Now there's 2 of them, so that doesn't scare me as much as it excites me, because I think, and every time you come back from a league meeting, you said, hey, the Vegas crew was really awesome. They pitched this idea. We have a different look on that may or may not work in our market, but I think we'll get to teach them something too on
Absolutely.
because the NHL model is not going to transition to
No.
indoor football as good as they are. It's just a different product and a different thing, and I think there's definitely we can both learn a lot from each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and what Vegas did bring in,
Yep.
they brought in their top ticket guy to just talk to us, and he talked about what you and I
Yeah.
talk about,
Yep.
which is group sales.
Right.
And he talked about schools and he talked about community. So I was like, oh, bingo, somebody gets it.
Yep.
And he did say it's different than what he does with the hockey team because it's a different demographic. And that's what has to get canned, if you will, across the league is how we sell and to whom we sell.
Correct. Yep.
And that's just going to takes time. We're the veteran, so we've done it. We've done it well.
Yeah.
We've done it not so well.
Right.
So we have the experience that the rest of them don't. The idea is we don't want them to go through the learning curve that we went through.
Yeah.
We want to try and shorten that for them because we spent a lot of money trying that out.
Yep.
And, there's teams, Frisco even, they had a mishap, and I'll call it that. They might call it even worse than that, with who they had running the team.
Sure.
And you can throw a lot of money at this.
Yeah.
You can throw a lot of money. And sometimes people think that what the outward appearances makes it better. If you don't have a good core underneath, if
Right.
you don't have the right people in place doing your operations, and Larry never likes it when I say this, because it's not just about football.
Right.
It is about having an organizational foundation around how you operationally run, how you purchase the footballs, how you purchase the uniforms, how you handle transactions. Yeah, that's all football operations, but without sponsorships, without trade,
Right.
without all the other things that go into putting the game on that we do in the off season, by the time the season starts, we're done with all that, right?
Right.
Then we
Yeah.
just get to sit back.
Yeah. Insert sarcasm here. Shows up in costumes, offer to help. And in her defense, I say go sit down and enjoy the thing you own.
Yeah.
But she is always willing to help.
Yeah.
So, yep.
we put so much work into those days
I know.
that sitting down just doesn't make sense.
And you'll call, and I'll ghost you once or twice because I'm in the middle of the storm.
Oh,
but
I
then
know.
I'll call back, and I'll be like, we're good. Please enjoy the game when you come, but thank you for all you do, because you do a lot when I look at. And not to say, Kathy, you said it a couple minutes ago, right? There are two different types of owners. And that's not to say that just owning and having somebody do their thing is wrong,
It's not a
right?
bad
She just
thing.
enjoys being involved.
Right.
So,
It's
yep.
and exactly. It's not that we've had owners of the Blizzard not be involved
Yep.
before. Larry and I just can't seem to do
Right,
that.
right.
So we are different, and we might be an anomaly in this league, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I do know there's other involved owners. Iowa Barnstormers involved ownership. Gina with in New Mexico, with the Gladiators, definitely a hands-on owner. There's a lot of them
Yeah.
that are hands-on, and I'm not saying the Germains aren't,
Right.
because they are. They're very invested in
Right.
what they have invested in. So it's just whether or not you do the day-to-day.
Sure.
So
That's awesome.
I'm
I think-
excited about what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the longer IFL pieces we did on the show, and I think why we did this, I think that's a great snapshot, and I hope fans appreciate that, because that's
That's
the
truly a
difference,
behind the
right?
scenes.
Like, I don't think you have 30 whatever NFL owners sit and do this and explain what goes in and how, like, the ownership piece. So I think that's cool. That's why we do this. So,
Yeah.
and I will say, rewinding the Vegas piece, like, they sent an email asking for our partnership deck or sponsorship deck. And they beat me to sending me theirs before I sent them theirs. I was just like, you're good. I said, I'm going to take a couple slides from yours, much like Arizona's, because completely different markets with huge price tags, but they were really good put together decks. But like they'll be fine if people bite on what they have in that deck. They'll be fine.
Well,
so,
and if you
yep.
if you look at that, and you bring up a great point. So what costs, let's say, $1,500 here,
Right.
probably could be $15,000 there.
Yep, yep.
And you just have to make sure that whatever it is that you're selling will cover the nut that you're trying to crack.
Right. Yep.
So if they have a $3 million budget,
Right.
okay, then just make sure you can cover your $3 million, because
Right.
we don't have a
I
$3 million
remember you
budget.
sent me to Arizona, and I hung out with Chris Preston, who's now with the CFL, and he had set one of his decks out for what would have been, I believe, a presenting casino for the whole building. And I'm like, dude, there must be a typo here. And he's like, nope, our dasher boards cost that much. I'm like, I got to go home and think about what I'm doing. Like, but it is completely different
It's what
markets.
the
You're talking
market
about
can bear.
Phoenix, Arizona, and Las Vegas, and then there's Green Bay. So,
Right.
yep.
Right. We just don't. Number one, they have more seats.
Yep.
So they can pitch it differently from a penetration of the market.
Right. Yep.
And so there's so much. People don't realize it's not just about playing a football game. There is so much more that goes into it. It's how many clicks you're going to get. It's how many viewers you're going to get. It's how many people in the seats you're going to
Yeah.
get. So it's much more than just throwing a ball on the field.
Yeah.
That's important because it does bring fans in. But we have found during our losing season, we had just as many,
We
if
did
not
pretty
more,
good. Yep.
than a winning season.
And I think
So-
people look, like, even when they're at their game day and look around and there's like 66 signs here, they must make a killing on these dasher boards. Well, we're a lot different even than other teams locally, right? So you take Gamblers, Now Rockers, Timber Rattlers, right? So the host model doesn't work with us, right? So our largest expense is housing the players, and I give up a good portion of those boards to feed my team versus a host family
Right.
providing meals in a home, right? So some of that inventory is gone to being able to provide the allotted meals for the guys. So yep.
Yeah, and so with the Gamblers, as you just said, they host those kids
Yep.
go somewhere. Could you imagine our players
no.
being hosted by a
Nope.
family?
Nope.
Oh my! Because there's a big difference between
Yeah.
a 19-year-old man and a 22-year-old man,
And a
or-
350-pound lineman on your living room couch versus a, high school, college hockey player.
Yeah, yeah, and their model works for them,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
it works, and they don't have the housing issues that we have,
Yep.
and they don't have the housing price tag that we have. But that's the way the IFL was set up. We house and feed the players. Now, if we owned a hotel,
Right.
it'd be different.
I mean, rewind 8 years, we could have bought one.
By now, we could have had a hotel. Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
even built our own housing complex
Yeah.
and gave it to a school to pay for kids during the school year, then taking it back and potato.
Well,
Yeah.
that's Gina in New Mexico. She's a real estate
Yep.
person. So, of course, she went that route.
Yep.
And more power to her. Bismarck, same kind of thing. They've got somebody that's really into real estate. So,
Yeah.
If we look back now, yeah, that probably would have been a good investment.
Right?
Probably should have done that. Build some kind of barrack somewhere, and then do an Airbnb for Green Bay.
Right. Yeah, yes.
Because everybody
Yep.
comes to Green Bay in the
True. I
summer.
mean, you get that anywhere near the stadium. If it was a large enough thing, we could have rented it out and covered us on Packer
absolutely.
home games. And then, yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
Bought that huge building from Tim from Margaritas right there on the corner. Have it empty or
Yeah.
multiple floors of Blizzard housing. Yeah.
yeah. Could have been. Oh, man.
Good times.
If only.
If
right?
only. Yeah, right?
So to go back to the validity of what we're doing and how solid we are
Yeah.
as an organization, I think we are the most solid that we've ever been.
Yeah.
I just saw that the CFL kicked out the Wichita ownership, and I think that's good for them.
Yeah.
If that ownership wasn't doing what they should. Now
Sure.
they took that straight out of our book when we had Louisville
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
You know, if it's one thing to have something that's kind of nagging and should we, shouldn't we? We're just going to limp through a season versus we already know it's not going to work.
Right.
For whatever reason, whether it's a financial thing or it's just how they work with everybody. Wichita's been a hard area. We had them in our league. You know, that ownership group ended up dissolving. So I get it. You have to be smart business people to be in these leagues.
Yeah.
And we now have a good batch of people to be able to do that.
That's
a lot of IFL
That was
stuff.
a good segment.
Are we done now?
No, I mean in Blizzard world, we are stay on target. We're on target for
Stay on target.
the ticket release. We will have merch images for you guys next episode. We approved those. We're just waiting for final mocks, and then we'll get that stuff live and purchasable.
Viable. That sounds a lot like
But yeah,
Bible.
we are still on target for early February on sale.
So I want to talk a little bit about merch because we did have somebody ask, you know, hey, you should have stuff on sale so we can look like the people on the field. We are not going to, we do want to differentiate our professional staff from the people in the stands, right?
Yep.
So we're not going to make that available.
Yep.
We are going to do things that are special for season ticket holders as well as flex people. I don't know
partners.
if that'll, and partners.
Yep.
Yeah. Where, you know, it'll be available to them so you can distinguish, that's a partner.
Yeah.
That's a partner. That's a season ticket holder.
Right.
We want that distinction.
Yep.
And I think it's great that we do that. The other piece that I wanted to just let you know is because we're transitioning into new gear, we will be selling some of the old gear. So before those first couple of games, we're going to do a cleaning out the equipment room sale.
Yep.
So you'll have available to you jerseys that were actually on the field. That's one of the purchase. The first purchase I made when we bought the team was a Brooks jersey from back in the day.
Yeah.
So I have that jersey, and I liked it because of the last name, but it wasn't the same Brooks that I bought it for. But anyway, so we'll have that available. Hopefully that first game, I doubt we'll have anything on sale before that first game.
Right.
Jersey wise.
Yep.
The coveted military jerseys, we're going to auction those off. So those will be a higher price tag.
Yep.
The jerseys won't be cheap either, but they will be authentic jerseys, pants.
100%. Yep.
As well as some other things that we have. We have some Blizzard football pants that have Blizzard down the side.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. There might be people that buy those thinking, I'll squeeze into that. And their legs will look great.
Yeah, right.
And then everything else. Yeah. But no, we're excited to be able to share that. So there'll be additional merch available by that first game.
Yepper.
On top of the merch you're already talking about.
Yepper.
What did I tell you about yeppers?
Are you a youper?
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, yep, yep.
Who used to do that?
That was the dinosaur from the Land Before Time. You know, like I talk about a throwback. I did Book It. I know, right?
Yeah.
I did Book It Reading Club for Pizza Hut. Not a partner plug, not a sponsor. Sorry, Pizza Hut. I got those hand puppets when I read enough pizza. When I ate enough pizza. When I read enough books, you get a personal pan pizza and those Land Before Time hand puppets. So, yep. Oh, boy.
I got nothing.
I don't either.
I got nothing. We don't have a coaches segment.
Nope.
I don't know when we'll have a coaches segment. I think he's probably dreaming up what the next
What's next?
segment looks like.
Yep.
Or segments, or is it a new style? Is it different? We're not really sure. So we'll be able to get that to you as soon as Coach gets it to Big Bark. What else we got?
Re-signed a couple big
Big
ones. Mathis Ellis, Canty, Keyshawn Taylor.
Big.
I believe we're all at now, so otherwise I'm in trouble. Yeah.
Welcome
back.
I was happy to see Canty came
Yep.
back. At the end of last season, it's hard for these guys to juggle a career and come to practice, and it wears you out.
Right.
I mean, so Canty, you need to make sure that you're ready for the season when you come to town. Keyshawn Taylor, that was big. He's been a good integral part of things, and we're waiting for just a few others to throw their hat in.
Yeah, we got to be getting close. I haven't been keeping track, and I also can
really
see behind
close.
the scenes, but we're pretty close to
a full roster.
Yeah. Should be cool. So I'm excited. So we're getting there. We're under 2 months out as of this episode airing.
Right.
So
Right. I do want to hit on something that we really don't talk a lot about on this show because of HIPAA violations, but I do want to talk a little bit about one of the things, because this is a behind the scenes.
Okay.
To talk about the workers' comp piece that comes into play with our league in general, and then each state has their own workers' comp. But in any of these types of sports like this, workers' comp is one of the biggest expenses that you have.
Sure.
The state of Wisconsin, we have a really good plan because the Packers are here.
Sure.
And they have helped negotiate that workers' comp premium. Not the premium that we pay, but that dollar per incident or per player per hour that you pay in. But we did just recently have a player that was still on our IR go and play for another league. So he's signed with another league. He's technically on our see, say that a lot. Our IR.
Rowards.
Our IR.
Iowa. Iowa as a state sounds like one of those plastic tubes. Ow.
Speaking of ours, so workers' comp.
Okay.
What these players don't understand is our workers' comp needs to be closed out before you can go somewhere. Right. So just because you decide that you're not going to go to treatment anymore, or just because you decide you're done, the fear that I have for them is if they go to another league that doesn't do entrance physicals, that doesn't do their due diligence on workers' comp, and they get injured, where do you think they're going to come? Back to the Blizzard and say,
Big Bark Studios.
Yeah, I was never healed. And all we can say is, guys, make sure you finish out your protocol. Happened in the and the NFL just recently with a nice player that probably handled it the wrong way, but he didn't feel he was ready to play, and they were making him play. So that's a shout out to the players. You guys know what your bodies can and can't do. That's not saying that you should go out and milk workers' comp, because they have doctors and staff that are looking at where you're at and where you should be. So you can't really get away with, oh no, I'm still injured from that pinky injury I had 6 years ago. That's not going to work. But you really should get cleared before you decide to go to another league. So that's just another little behind the scenes kind of thing.
There's some educated fans after this.
Yeah. And please, ask more questions.
Please do.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm done.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're good.
When I say Big Bark, you say
woof.
It took 33 minutes. I don't know if that's an accurate time, but give or take. But we still got Big Bark and nothing but love and respect.
Absolutely. He loves us, right?
Should we hit him with it? Right, Drew?
Oh,
CC. Backpack.
Sorry, Dora.
Yeah.
On so many levels.
I know,
sorry. Yes. Okay.
Let's hit him with it.
Do you know what green is and what white is in Spanish?
Blanco.
Blanco.
Verde.
Verde.
Look at that. Dora, you did good in my house. You did real good.
All right. I think we should be done. These poor people are like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, wrap it
Wrap
up.
it up. Hit him with it.
All right. Go
Go
Blizz.
Blizz. Don't forget to like, follow,
Subscribe
share.
and ring that notification bell to get all of our content in your inbox.